Hello and welcome to my garden. I'm Marion and I'm planting my broad beans in today, and it feels so lovely because my vegetable garden hasn't been going quite a year yet. Last year I missed my chance of putting broad beans in, and so I'm really pleased that I've got vegetable beds to actually put them in. These are the second sowings as well, because I did sow them before Christmas and they were growing really well. And I planted them out, and then the dreadful winter wet that we've had in the UK has totally rotted them off. So I sowed them again. There's just going to be enough for a double row, and that'll suit me fine. Well, they look pretty fine. I've put a single cane in beside each one because I've only got 16 there. They might as well just be supported each one instead of putting strings round. It's not like I've got a great big row and an allotment. It's just a little row, so they're going to get individually pampered, I think. Anyway, hello to this week's episode of Marion's Garden, and I've got some good stuff, an unusual thing and a failure to tell you about. And the failure is all my fault, but it's caused me a bit of a bother, but I think I've sorted it already. Anyway, I'm going to show you what's in the polytunnel and what I've done outside and what I'm going to do for the rest of today, because I think it's going to be housekeeping. While I'm outside, I might as well show you that I have harvested the very end of the sprouts and the purple sprouting broccoli. And you have to take all the flowering shoots off the perennial cabbage. But that's going to be tasty greens. They look like a little bouquet. They've been very tasty, so Luke and I'll be having them tonight probably with something else. The radishes and lettuces I sowed a couple of weeks ago are through there, and I've sown second rows. And this morning I've sown bunching onions along there and a double row of parsnips here. And that's just going to be so lovely because, of course, there was the parsnip debacle last year where they all came out wiggly because I'd bought seedlings because it was late in the season, and I washed them and dibbled them and they still came out wiggly. I still had them though. So this year there's 2 rows of proper parsnips gone in there, and I've sown them with a bit of radish seed which will mark the rows. So fingers crossed. So all this is good. What else has gone on out here? I'll show you. I'm really happy to say that this area is as finished as I can make it now. It's been weeded right the way down to the apple tree, so that's down to there. And I've planted the things that I found in my holding area. They're all planted in now. And the ferns are coming up. That one's got its lovely crow's ears on, unfurling. The forget-me-nots have started. I absolutely love forget-me-nots. I was so happy to see this coming through. This is bloodroot, which is Sanguinaria canadensis, and this is Flora pleno, so it's the double one. I really thought I'd lost it entirely. I couldn't remember if I dug it up or not, but I think because of where it is, I think maybe I did put it there. And there's only a little bit come. There was quite a big patch of it. If I see it somewhere else, well, I'll be happy. But at the moment, I'm so happy there's even 3 flowers on it. Or 4. Oh, 4 flowers. That's so lovely. Or maybe another one. I'm just so happy that that survived. Spring feels like it really has sprung. The weather really has been all over the place though. We had the hottest day for April ever. And then the next day there was sleet and rain, and then today it's really lovely again. Not quite as hot as Wednesday, but it's really gorgeous. It's the most beautiful spring day, and I'm going to get a lot done today. I'm going to show you up here though. If I walk past the broad beans, right up here is this plant. And you'll have heard me say how I was disappointed with my purple sprouting broccoli because it didn't really do much, and then the weather changed and it sort of came and went over straight away. And I had two very odd plants. One of them, and I grew them from seed myself, so I can't sort of say anything, they all came from the same seed packet. One got left in the Polytunnel because I thought that would mean it would have its broccoli on earlier, and it's still just looking like there's nothing. I mean, it's a healthy plant, but it didn't produce any shoots of anything you could harvest. And then there was this one here, and this one didn't do anything until a few weeks ago, and then it looked like it was getting a cauliflower in the centre, which has sort of grown and grown. So I just thought, oh well, it's a bad batch, or it's a bit of a funny one, until this morning when I was looking for something else entirely and was thinking of more perennial vegetables, and I saw a picture of the 9-star broccoli, and that's what this is, because look, it's all the little babies in here. So I think it's just been mixed up seed, or maybe a sport, but I'm going to harvest this mini cauliflower on the top. And if it is the 9-star broccoli, then that means that it's perennial and that I could have that growing for the next 2 or 3 years, if not a little bit longer. I don't think they last for hugely long, but definitely they harvest for at least 2 to 3 years. So I'll just have to let you know what's going on. On one hand, I don't want it in this corner. If I'd thought I was putting a perennial broccoli there, it wouldn't have been there. So maybe once I've harvested everything, I might try very carefully to dig it up and put it somewhere where I think it should be all right. But super exciting. I thought I was going to have to buy some seeds or a plant, and there I had one all the time, which is very good. And I like these serendipitous occasions. You just don't know with gardening what's going to happen. Which brings me to the bit of a failure. And that failure is the compost heap, or the compost bin. It just isn't working for this garden. It used to, till I moved it and didn't give it any room. So now I can't dig it out and turn it and put it back. And I can't reach to the back of it. So I've been trying to get the compost out of the bottom with my fork. And the fork only reaches in about 1 foot to 18 inches. And that's a metre cubed, that compost bin. And it always worked very successfully, because where it used to be, which was exactly in the corner where the water barrel is, there was plenty space, and I used to take the stuff out and then load it back in again, and so it got turned. But in my enthusiasm for getting as much growing space as possible, I've sort of hedged this one in, or hemmed it in I should say. It's got the dead hedge on one side, and then the compost bin moved into place, and then all my high soil that I had to build up as I dug my veg beds out is right up against the other side. You can see that beautiful Omphalloides there, it's a beauty. It's called Cherry Ingram. I love it. Anyway, and there you go. I've got about 18 inches in front of it of paving that I haven't even cemented in yet. But I just can't get to the stuff. And then the stuff that's not composted, which is by the sides of it, has already fallen down in front of the back of the compost, which I can't get. So I must admit, it's been a bit of a puzzler. On the one hand, I have been taking what I'd call half-done compost out, and I have been putting it on top of my beds and digging it in somewhat and putting the really rough stuff back into the top of the compost bin. And I couldn't quite decide what I was going to do, and then my friend said she had a hot bin that she needed to get rid of, but it didn't have the hatch or the base or anything, but did I want it? I'm going, oh yes please. So I'm going to be swapping it for a hot bin, and I can get the replacement parts, which is quite easy because they're actually manufactured not very far away from me actually, and I will give the the one that I've got away to either a neighbour if I find somebody who wants one, or I'll take it up to the allotment site which is near me. I can take it up there. I'm sure somebody would want it because it is a good bin that works really well. I've just hemmed it in so much that I can't get the stuff out and I can't turn it, and it's all my fault because it was just my enthusiasm for having the amount of space meant that I didn't think everything was so on a high last year of actually doing the changes that it didn't occur to me that I needed the space to turn the stuff like I always have done. And in the end, I've composted for many, many years. Not only have I composted for years, I've had a wormery for years outside the back door. It's very successful. And I also do bokashi composting as well. And so between that, I've never had any food or green waste going into my bins or anything. It's always gone either to the bokashi, to the worms, or to the compost bin. It's the first time ever I've made a proper sort of a rookie mistake, I think. But hey ho, it's going to change. So I'll have to sort of dig out that one and bag it all up, even though it's not really done properly, and then set the hot bin thing up, and I have to feed it a bit at a time. I've never had one, but by all accounts they're marvellous, so I just have to see. So that's my bit of failure, which hopefully is going to turn into a good thing in the end. And I'm going to show you my housekeeping and just the flowers that are out now, because all of a sudden spring is well and truly sprung here. The blackthorn is full out, the verges are covered in dandelions, they're so beautiful. And the spring flowers in the garden have really caught up. I've got primroses all over the place and some really pretty little narcissus round the pond. It's a cardamine, I think it's quinquefolia, and this little area here, which is also ferny and woodlandy, it's actually got a lot of nettles, but I'm not really bothered about that at the moment. I know there'll be pretty things coming up. The frog spawn haven't really done much yet, they're just there though. But I did end up with a second little clump down this end, and so there's been two little bits of spawning going on. And look, the kingcups are starting to flower. I've got a white version and a yellow version of our native kingcup. In the polytunnel, all sorts have started to grow. The runner beans came through. No sign of the sweet corn yet though. These are what I sowed last week. This is the colettes and the sprouts. And they're both showing their seedlings, which is great. And a friend has given me a melon seedling. Melon Melba. And so I'm going to put that in a pot similar to what I've got my potatoes in. And I think I've got room for it in here. So that'll be an exciting experiment. Also, the carrots are through, hooray! Well, at least the orange ones are. The purple ones are a little bit behind, but I can see them. So I do have to pot up some seedlings in here and just put the tomatoes on and things, but I'm going to do that later on. While it's nice, I'm going to do what I'm going to call a bit of housekeeping. Last week we did have a really big storm and it was very windy, Storm Dave, and it's taken part of the roof off the sunny bench. So there are planks down here and on the other side too. And that made me realise that really I just need to get on with demolishing that and sorting it out. Well, of course, I've got nowhere to put the wood and all the stuff that's going to come down from it. And then getting the things from the holding area last week made me realise I just need to tidy that up a bit. And so that's my housekeeping this week. I'm going to be going through all of those pots, weeding them out, tidying them up, cutting them back, seeing what's good, what's bad, what need to keep and what maybe needs to be potted on. That geranium is fine and it's in a big pot. But here I've got this eucalyptus France Bleu. It's actually a dwarf eucalyptus that's only going to get to be 5 foot tall. It's still in a tiny pot. So I'm going to put that on and I'm going to tidy up all these pots There's camassia here, at least that's in a pot that's big enough. There's 2 shrub roses here, waiting to go in. Maybe I thought they'd be in by now. And then there's all this mess. So I'm going to just start and take one pot at a time, start in this corner, and I'll work everything across to here, which will mean that I end up with access to my water barrel, because at the minute it's too awkward to get to. But you can see there's maybe things growing, and maybe there's things that have gone over, but I need to know. So that's what I'm going to do. It'll feel quite nice to get this tidy, I think. Off I go, get my gloves on. And in among all of the hustle and bustle of spring and sowing and planting and tidying, I promised myself that I wouldn't forget to take time out to just sit down and look at everything and appreciate just what I've got. So I hope you do the same. Find some time to just look around, and it doesn't matter what size your patch is, just appreciate that you've got what you've got. Find some time to appreciate the way that spring or autumn or whatever season you're in, just whatever it's giving you at the time. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodness knows what it'll be, but the things are moving forward at a pace, so there's bound to be something new. Bye, and thanks so much for watching.